Welcome. Well, it's been an intense few hours. Let's go with the latest news from this afternoon, late afternoon, evening. Given everything that's been said about the transfer market, and the most important news comes to us from England. Welcome, Madridistas. I haven't said anything yet, and to those who aren't Madridistas, this has expanded quite a bit since the World Cup. I thank all of you who have joined in this last month. I remind you to please like this video if you're interested in this content and if you like this channel even a little, because likes are very important. And let's not even mention hyping up the video, because that really helps a lot. And for those of you who haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Well, Sky Sports says that Arsenal has withdrawn from this attempt to sign Vinicius, because they believe Real Madrid won't sell the Brazilian and are confident he'll accept a new contract. Maybe it's because Vinicius, since Madrid is sticking to what they originally offered Vinicius, maybe Vinicius is going to lower his financial demands. That everything had to go through there, because otherwise Madrid can't afford the luxury of Vinicius getting more expensive. The final months of this year, with the summer transfer window already closed and waiting until January to become a free agent. That couldn't happen. So there was only one solution here, which was for Vinicius to ask for less, to come to his senses. For the past 2 years, in my opinion, he hasn't been bad, but he hasn't been as good as before. And in the World Cup, which for him could have been a game changer in his negotiations, well, it wasn't. Man, look, that's enough. I mean, that's enough. And watch out, because if that's not the case, if he doesn't lower his demands, Madrid, well, would be listening to offers. But reports out of England say Arsenal would see it as a very tough deal. Precisely because of that, because they think they're going to reach an agreement. Well, I think that gives us a very, very big clue. The afternoon has been very interesting on social media, on X, because Pepe Alvarez said, I'm going to give some information in relation to Real Madrid players. He didn't say who, right? And then he wrote about two, Vinicius and Jude Bellingham. About Vinicius, he says the following: Mourinho doesn't consider the Brazilian essential for his new Real Madrid. The club won't force his departure, but they also won't close the door to a good offer. At the same time, this was being published in England. The club can't pay him an 80 million signing bonus or give him 80% of the image rights. That's it. That's how it is. Madrid won't budge on that. Like we said before, if the Brazilian agrees, fine. If not, well. So the saga continues, but I think now it's more likely that Vinicius will renew and stay. That's it. That's how it is. Madrid won't budge on that. Like we said before, if the Brazilian lowers his demands, fine. If not, then nothing. So the saga continues, but I think now it's more likely that Vinicius will renew and stay. I know that yesterday or the day before I made a video about the fact that I saw him more out than in, because honestly, I saw Vinicius more out than in given how things were. With events unfolding and with that possible offer from Arsenal coming out at the same time, it's confirmed that Madrid is going to sign Diomande. By the way, there's still no official announcement, but there will be one in the next few hours. And of course, you say, well, it's the same agency representing them. There are some very strange moves here. Something about Paris Saint-Germain pops up. Very strange moves that gave me the feeling, because the situation is complicated if Vinicius doesn't lower his demands, that there was going to be a sale here. Now things seem calmer, but the situation remains complicated if Vinicius doesn't lower his demands. It's true, it seemed like there was going to be a sale here, but now things seem to have calmed down a bit. Let's see in the next few hours, because things are changing a lot. And as I said, he wasn't just talking about Vinicius, but also about Jude Bellingham, and he claimed something. I always take that with a grain of salt. I mean, anyway, he brings it to me, Pepe Alvarez, because, well, he gives himself a lot of importance on social media. Honestly, it really attracts attention, right? A lot of what he says is interesting because his information has often been good. About the Bellingham issue, he says Mark Bellingham met with the club. The father met with the club at the end of the season to discuss his son's departure due to footballing differences with the higher-ups. The club declared him non-transferable, and Jude is non-transferable. They say that both he, Mbappé, and Valverde, this isn't what he says, it's what's being said, are the three non-transferable players in this Real Madrid. Well, this thing about footballing differences with the higher-ups really catches my attention. Who are the higher-ups? The ones up top means the players further forward, to Vinicius and Mbappé. It's clear that he has some disagreement with Mbappé. I think that's obvious, because Let's just admit it, guys. Mbappé, Vinicius, and Bellingham. Well, not so much Vinicius and Bellingham, since they've already won a Champions League together. Actually, it's more like Vinicius with Mbappé and Bellingham with Mbappé, and the common denominator there is Mbappé, by the way, but they don't get along. I mean, they don't click, they just don't click, and that's how it is. I understand what the higher ups here are saying, the ones at the top of the club, but with whom? Well, if they don't decide, well, they don't decide. They give instructions about where one player or another can play, but really the one Bellingham had disagreements with was Xavi Alonso. With him, he really did have disagreements. This information seems incomplete to me. Maybe at some point they thought it was because their son doesn't play or because of the position he plays in the English national team. Well, they don't see a future for him at Real Madrid because Mbappé is going to stay there. But there's another thing, another variable. Why don't Mbappé and Bellingham understand each other on the field? Because the Frenchman drops back to get the ball where the Englishman prefers to receive it. And he takes up a large part of the field that the Englishman likes to occupy. That's why the Englishman also has to drop a bit deeper, taking up areas of the field he doesn't like to play in. Well, of course, that's basically the ABC of two footballers who, football-wise, don't fit well together. And personally, honestly, it's been a long time since I've seen them share confidences, talk, hug, things like that. It's been a long time since I've seen that, a long time. And that worries me because that's a very important thing. I mean, here we have the best striker of the World Cup, Mbappé, and the best midfielder of the World Cup, the best attacking midfielder of the World Cup. Bellingham, of course, I hope he comes. And now we're talking about the best playmaking midfielder or pivot of the World Cup and the World Cup Golden Ball, which is Rodri. By the way, Madrid is also going to have the best defender of the World Cup, or one of the best defenders, Cucurella, and the best goalkeeper in the world. The best goalkeeper of the World Cup has been Unai Simon. For obvious reasons, he only conceded one goal, but we have the best goalkeeper in the world. If this doesn't work, you've got to be kidding me. But of course, then there are incompatibilities. And I think that between Bellingham and Mbappé, it's pretty clear. And maybe that's where the issue comes from, right? He says, hey, my son scored a ton of goals in his first year because he played further up, and then the other guy comes in. And since he arrived, things have been the way they are. And on top of that, he has a great World Cup playing up front for England, scores goals, and is one of the best in the tournament. So, well, they might be right. I hope Mourinho sees it. But of course, if Mourinho sees Bellingham playing a little further up, then someone up front is going to be left out. There are a lot of pieces here, puzzle pieces that still need to come together. The transfer window is long, but I don't think Bellingham or Mbappé are leaving. So the Frenchman and Englishman will have to coexist. As for the Brazilian, things look pretty decent today. We'll see how they are tomorrow. What looks really good, and really good for some who have given very good information about this, Sergio Valentin among them and so on, is the Rodri situation. But of course, there are some who are now jumping on the information bandwagon saying, I'm going to share some info about this so I can take credit for it later. Jose Felix Diaz in the newspaper AS says that the solution will come in 24 hours, that the leaders of the Madrid club have been reluctant for 11 months. But the idea has been changing, and what was a resounding no until the start of the World Cup has matured and evolved into a yes. Of course, that's one thing, that the leaders of the Madrid club have been reluctant, that they were monitoring Rodri. Of course, there was a report before the World Cup that wasn't very positive, but everything has changed after the World Cup. Yeah, Jose Felix. But today you're giving this information when others have been talking about this for a week, that Madrid already said yes, that Madrid changed its mind on that. But we already know how Jose Felix is, jumping in at the last moment so that later no one can say he didn't say anything. Well, one thing, of course, City wants a replacement. It already came up tonight. It's already been talked about in the last few days, but now, with more momentum, the thing about Boatí. Manchester City, this is what Fabrizio Romano is saying, is confident in closing the deal for Ayub Boatí in the next few days. Of course, they're keeping an eye on that too. A clear substitute for Rodri, some might say. Also, we did it during the World Cup when Rodri's hype wasn't that high, especially in the first few games. Because while Spain was struggling to get going, and so was Rodri, who was Spain's little engine, we were already seeing this Boatí guy surprising all of us in Morocco's first World Cup match against Brazil. And we said, that's it, this guy, right? Which, hey, as a business, well, since he's so young, maybe it could be much better. But the thing is, well, it could also turn out badly. And yet the other guy is already more than proven, right? He's 10 or 11 years older, but he's definitely proven. The thing is that Manchester City would want him, and it's also being said that Manchester City would want something from Real Madrid. Something from Real Madrid. Some player. Who could it be? Hopefully it's Camavinga, but I doubt that's the point. Maybe it's more complicated. Careful. Well, we'll find out in the next few days. FIFA has opened the case after 10 days, my goodness, against the Argentine national team for the assaults and incidents during the World Cup final. Paredes, Molina, and Ayala. Ayala, the member of the coaching staff. Técnico. Of course, the one who starts everything here is Nahuel Molina, who is the one that punches Rodri for no reason when Rodri goes to celebrate. And from there, that's when everything starts to unfold. Because Eric Garcia comes from behind, having seen it, to confront Nahuel Molina. Then Paredes comes to confront Eric Garcia. And then Gabi comes to confront Paredes, and so on. And then Ayala throws that punch at Dani Olmo. Here, it's the Argentinians who started. Naturally, I'm surprised they include Gabi there as well. Honestly, because Gabi, come on, we're the last people you'd suspect of backing Gabi here. But Gabi, the man just did what Eric Garcia did too. He defended one of his teammates. As far as I remember from the footage, Gabi doesn't hit anyone because none of the Spaniards throw a punch there. There's a punch, and that's from Nahuel Molina. Sorry, there are two punches, one from Nahuel Molina to Rodri's chest and the other from Ayala between Dani Olmo's neck and jaw. Paredes kicks Eric Garcia, shoves him, and grabs him by the neck. Eric Garcia doesn't do anything about it. Maybe just pushes him a little, but that's it. And as far as I remember, Gabi doesn't throw any punches or kicks or grab anyone by the neck, as far as I remember. So I don't know. Let's see. This case is being opened. Let's see what they decide in the end. And also another one to the Argentine Federation for, well, allowing and tolerating when it was obvious that it couldn't be done, showing the Malvinas Argentinas banner, right? Anyway, and one more about the World Cup, this one from Luis Carrasco. Of course, Ferran Torres scores another historic goal for Spain, Spanish football, and the national team, right? He gave us the second star, the second World Cup. Ferran Torres plays for Barça. But Ferran Torres, when he talks about the World Cup and about his goal and winning the title, he says, this is a goal for 47 million Spaniards, Spain this, Spain that. The kid feels very Spanish. He's from Foyos, a fun town in Valencia. Foyos, and of course, then during the celebration, he puts on a cap with a slogan which people here don't really get. But, well, now he's already considered a Trump supporter just because, right? But anyway, even if he was, what does it matter? But, well, anyway, make Spain great again, right? Borja Iglesias was also wearing the same cap, but I don't remember. How did it go? Make reggaeton. I don't remember. It was a joke about reggaeton, and it ended with amen, right? But he was wearing the same red cap with white letters, right? But they've caught her with Ferran Torres, who apparently also has a company that rents out offices. And I don't know what else. And so they've already said that housing is being harmed. I mean, Podemia, I mean, the Podemos people, I mean, the Spanish lefts, which is just the worst in the world. They were the ones who advised the Chavista dictatorship. And of course, the fact that those people are against someone already speaks very well of the person they're against. That's for sure. And it was clear they were going to try to crush another Spanish hero. Because Ferran, even though he plays for Barça, he is one, and he will be for all time of Spanish football, right? And not only that, even being the most die-hard Barcelona fan, right? There are several. And here are two. Although the one saying it is Luis Carrasco, listen. Wait, because they're asking him here whether Ferran is going to extend his contract or not, which is a long stretch of Barcelona-related topics that don't interest us. He says it here.
And he's the goal scorer we have left because, well, obviously we can play with Adiemi, we can play with false nines, we can try different things, right? But the one who was occupying the center of the attack was Lewandowski or Ferran Torres, and they were somehow alternating in that role. Except for the false nine role, which is true, it can be used, and therefore with the departure of Lewandowski and Ferran Torres, it becomes a strategic piece. We can't do without him if there's no replacement. On the other hand, and that's why I tell you I have mixed feelings, I'm a bit fed up with him, honestly. I'm a bit tired, really. There have been attitudes from the player that I don't like that go directly against our values, against who we are and the way we see life. And that also affects me because in the end, football is also about values. And at FC Barcelona, even more so.
Sorry, but which one is it? I mean, what values, which values is Ferran Torres going against? For scoring a goal with Spain, talking about the 47 million goal. But what else has that guy said? What else has he said? Wearing the Make Spain Great Again cap, which is a joke, but it's also a great phrase. I mean, let's make Spain great again in every sense, not just in football, in every way. Seriously, man? Really? So this Apodemia thing, they're just idiots. Miguel Serrano, relax, but I can't help it. Sorry. That the Apodemia, that all those leftists are against it, you say, okay, fine. But these guys too, man, come on. He's one of your players. Hey, seriously, they did make Villa take off the Spanish flag and all that, but they're just unbelievable, man. They're unbelievable. And besides, what are Barca's values anyway? I mean, if we're going to get picky, right? Paying a deputy chief of referees for more than 20 years, 8.4 million. Well, as far as we know, maybe now it's going to be more, of course, because since 95 to a paying the deputy chief of referees money so that he influences the competition, according to what that man said, I mean, that man said no. They pay me so that no decisions are made against Barça and for neutrality to influence the competition. Those are the values of Barça. Ferran, get out of there. Run, kid. I hope he leaves. Hope everything goes well for you. Give it a like if you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to the channel, comment, share, hype up the video, please. I already asked for this at the beginning, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.